Greetings, guest. Welcome to the Patriarchy, where we explore cinema classics fueled by predictive Hollywood programming and unpack how our favorite characters in cinema got egg all over their faces. I am your commentator, Dom, and tonight we're unpacking A Kiss Before Dying. This video will wrap up our deep dive into author Ira Levin's twisted novels turned movies with A Kiss Before Dying. And because this is the last film review in the Ira Levin series, as a bonus, this video will include some integrated lessons that we can learn from the plot. So let's get to it. A Kiss Before Dying hit the big screen in 1956 and was directed by first-time director Gerd Oswald. I'd like to note that there was a remake of this film that hit theaters in 1991, but this video will focus on the 1956 film. The cast includes Bud, played by Robert Wagner, who is dating fellow college classmate Dory, short for Dorothy, played by Joanne Woodward. So the plot of the story centers around an ambitious young man, Bud, motivated to break ties with his poor, impoverished upbringing. But these plans shift when Dory, his girlfriend, unexpectedly falls pregnant. Now, because this is 1956, Dory expects this man to marry her given her delicate condition, and pressures him into doing so. Bud, however, is apprehensive and insists on meeting Dory's father first. The premonition of Dory's fate is witnessed early on in the film when Bud begins to talk about her in past tense. So here's where we insert lesson number 1. Don't ever beg a man to be with you. Dory really put the pressure on Bud for marriage before he finally obliged. And if marriage is what you want, it is important to let the man lead in this aspect of the relationship. Pressuring a man into doing anything will only lead to contempt. Now, I am aware that Dory's reaction is simply a reflection of the time in which this film was made. But Dory's family had money, and she didn't really need Bud for financial support. So if Bud was giving the indication that he didn't want to solidify their relationship, unless under very particular circumstances, Dory should have just went back home to raise that baby with the help of her family. Had she done that, both her and the child would still be alive. As this film moves along, it becomes apparent to the audience that Bud does not like Dory and feels she will hold him back despite him saying that he loves her. Lesson 1B here is pay attention to actions, not words. There is even one scene where he appears to maliciously push her down the bleachers, to which her response is,
"You all right?"
Yes.
His body language, speech, and overall discontent are obvious signs of hatred towards Dory, but she is blinded by the thought of having a family with this man. And that brings us to lesson number 2. Remove your blinders. You'll notice in the movie that no one knew that Dory was dating Bud. Not her family, not her friends, not her sorority sisters, no one. She even stated at one point that she preferred going to places out of the way because she didn't want it getting back to her father that she was going steady. When we get into relationships and fall in love, we, especially women, tend to formulate ideas about the person that we're with in our minds that can sometimes be off. It's sort of like a puzzle. Imagine a guy and who he is as a whole. as a puzzle not yet put together. If he's sometimes good to you and does nice things for you, you take that imagery, those pieces of the puzzle, and start laying them out on the board. And what some women, like Dory, tend to do is fill in the rest of that picture, those missing puzzle pieces, themselves. Not with the actual puzzle pieces, but with their imagination. It's so important to have a circle of people around you to help fill in those missing pieces for you. Because when they interact with your person, they'll be seeing the exchange from a different perspective, thus removing any rose-colored glasses you may have and filling in those blanks with real information and not with what you're making up in your head. So back to the film. It's clear that Bud sees Dory as a burden as his plot gets more and more sinister and psychopathic as the movie goes on. He is shown at one point in the library looking at literature on poison and toxicology before entering the chem lab and then delivering mysterious pills, which he calls vitamins, to Dory. Now, we don't know that these pills were poisonous because Dory never actually takes them. She just lies and says that she did to appease Bud. But later on, Dory admits to Bud that she didn't take them. Why? She essentially had a gut feeling that he felt some sort of way about the pregnancy. And this leads us to our final lesson. Listen to your instincts about people and their motives. We tend to want to see the best in people, but doing so cost Dory her life. If you have a feeling that someone has harmful intentions towards you, you need to act. Don't be passive about it. Don't even try to investigate it. Use your intuition and get as far away from that person as possible. Dory had a feeling that Bud did something to those pills that might hurt the baby. And she even voices this. If she had such a thought, why continue to interact or let alone trust Bud? She buried the thought because of those blinders and her yearning for a family with this man. So back to the story. Bud finally obliges to get married and asks Dory to meet him at the marriage bureau, which just conveniently happened to be closed for lunch at the time that he requested to meet. When she gets there, he pretends to be a dummy and acts like he didn't know that the bureau would be closed, then convinces her to go up onto the rooftop to take in the view while they wait for it to reopen. You can probably guess what happens next. A woman on a rooftop of a tall building, sitting on the ledge with a man who has total disdain towards her. Yep, he pushed her. But not before putting a suicide note in her purse that he cleverly got her to write. Poor Dory. Now, this was just the first half of the movie. To summarize the second half, it's revealed that he's actually a bit of a gold digger who tried to marry Dory's sister to get to the family's money. This ties it together for us why Bud was insistent on meeting Dory's father. Not because it was the honorable thing to do, but because he was trying to get to the bag. His fate is somewhat poetic justice as he falls to his death, similar to how he ended Dory's life. So what are your thoughts on A Kiss Before Dying, or any of the Ira Levin stories for that matter? What do you think about the trend in his novels of what seemed to be a general disdain towards women? Leave a comment below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this content. I look forward to hearing your perspective. Signing off now, your friend, Dom.